On a mortgage pre-approval, a bank is telling a client how much they'd be willing to borrow them. It is still a pre-approval, so it is still subject to final approval, such as the property, but a client should always get a pre-approval to make sure they're shopping in the right price range. Some pre-approvals are just to check a TDS, GDS, but you might as well do a full-blown credit application so that there's no surprises, such as bad credit, which would prevent you from doing the mortgage. Rates are also guaranteed while the client is shopping, so they won't find that they're shut out of the mortgage market because rates have gone up while they were shopping. When doing a mortgage pre-approval, the numbers work the same as with a secured line of credit. So we're going to work backwards when we do a mortgage pre-approval. First, we calculate the maximum payments according to TDS, GDS. So instead of using the principal of the mortgage to calculate the payments, we're going to determine the payments and use them to calculate the principal that we could borrow. So we figure out what's 32% and 40% of their income, subtract off existing payments, that becomes what they can afford. The smaller of those two numbers becomes your payment, and you use that to calculate principal, add on any down payment to get the maximum purchase price. So we have a client who's got an $81,000 income. We estimate that houses have heat and property taxes combined of about $400 a month. They're going to choose a variable rate at 3%. Now, technically, we would have to do the stress test, but we will ignore that for this question. They also have a $200 loan and a $5,000 credit card limit. So let's work our way through the question. So first thing we need to do, we need to deal in a monthly. So let's figure out what their income would be on a monthly basis. So 81,000 divided by 12, $6,750 is their monthly income. So let's multiply $6,750 by 32% because that's the maximum GDS. So that gives $2,160. That's the maximum their GDS could be. We have to subtract off the heat and property taxes because those are normally included in GDS. $1,760 is the most they could afford for their payment according to GDS. So let's do this over again for TDS. $6,750 times 40%. Maximum they could afford is $2,700. Subtract off their loan payment, heat, and property taxes, which when you add them together, $400 plus $200 is $600. We also have to subtract off the credit card. What do we use for the credit card? $5,000 times 3%. So we're going to subtract off, that gives $150. Maximum they could afford, according to TDS, $1,950. So we take the smaller of the two. So GDS is going to max out first. $1,760 is the maximum that they can afford. So let's take a look at solving this. So it's still a mortgage, still 25 years or 300 months. Rate is 3 divided by 12. The difference here, I'm solving for present value and I have my payment, $1,760. So I look at these two. Which one is smaller? $1,760. Still a mortgage. At the end of the mortgage, I'm going to owe 0. So now I can solve for present value. $371,142.56. It's the maximum mortgage they could qualify for. So let's say they had $30,000 down. They could qualify to purchase just over $400,000.